All right. So today we're going to be talking about governed strength. Why you keep reacting and calling it passion. Does that make sense? Because to a lot of us, we just need to slow down. Okay, right now, before we move forward, I just want you to breathe. Okay? Breathe. Pause. Take a breath. Inhale through your nose. All right? Hold it. Exhale slowly. Let's breathe. Okay? If we can't regulate our breathing, we can't regulate our life. If our neurons aren't firing, we can, hey, thanks for joining, Mom. We're talking about governing our system today, governing our nervous system. So I want to take a deep breath. Let's breathe in for 4, hold it for 4, and exhale for 4. Let's do that a few times. Inhale, hold, exhale. Inhale for 4, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Awesome. All right. If we can't regulate our breathing, we can't regulate our life. That's just the bottom line. Our nervous system, it runs you. You are not, nobody's aware of how much their breathing, how much their internal temperature regulates their nervous system, okay? It's crazy. There are people who love God deeply, okay, and still live emotionally unstable lives. Not because they lack faith, but because they lack training. They lack a bunch of spiritual maturity that they need without the emotional discipline, okay? Does that make sense? When you snap, when you withdraw, when you defend, when you over-explain, or even shut down, you aren't reacting to today. You're reacting to our wiring in our system, okay? Slow it down. Let's breathe. Your brain stores emotional memories, and it does it through a process called implicit memory encoding, okay? Implicit memory encoding is how our brain stores the emotional memories that we have. That means that past pain shapes present perception, okay? Past pain shapes present perception. Even when we aren't consciously thinking about it, okay? Even when we are off in la la land. If you grew up having to defend yourself like verbally, thanks for joining, guys. If you felt unseen as a child, you're gonna overreact to being ignored now as an adult. Today we're talking about governing our nervous system. Thanks for joining, everyone. Okay? You will overreact to being ignored. Hey, thanks for joining, Nice Dragon. If you felt unseen as a child, it's crazy. If love felt unstable early, all right, you will panic when connection feels threatened. Does that make sense? That's not weakness, though. I am from southern Idaho. What about you? There we go. Oh, thank you so much, Ice Dragon. You are awesome, man. Okay, we're talking about the way that we govern our systems. Iran, I love that. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah. Govern our systems, okay? Romans 12:2, you know what it says? Be transformed by the renewing of our mind, right? Okay? Renewing is repetition. It's doing the right things. Neuroplasticity proves it. Our brain can change based on repeated thoughts. Okay, what we're thinking, our behavioral patterns. How are we thinking? What are we thinking about? Are we scared? Are we thinking about fear, about what could happen wrong? Are we thinking about the things that could go wrong? Or are we thinking about the things that are going to go right? I think you're cool. I appreciate you being here. I really do. Okay. I think it's so important that people understand how strong our minds are. Our minds control 90% of everything that happens in our life. Okay. So many people are going to pray for a breakthrough, but rehearsed resentment, do you know what that does? That's horrible. Many people ask for peace, but they mentally replay offenses. Does that make sense? Many people ask God to change their life, but they refuse to change their internal dialogue. It does take some work. Okay, it does take a little bit of work. It does take a little bit of us being intentional about the way we're thinking. Transformation requires participation on our part, right? We have to be intentional. When pressure hits us, all right, a little piece in our brain called the amygdala, it activates. It does not ask if you are spiritually mature or not. It doesn't ask you your permission. It doesn't ask you anything. It just takes control. And if you have unprocessed pain, everything's going to feel unsafe. That is the depth. Does that make sense? Criticism feels like rejection. Silence feels like abandonment. All right? Correction feels like humiliation. It's horrible. When you delay, it feels like you've lost already. But that's not how it is. If your nervous system cannot distinguish between discomfort and danger, you know what's going to happen? You're going to overreact to every single thing in this whole world. If you cannot distinguish that difference. 2 Timothy 1 verse 7, it says, power, love, and a sound mind. Let that sink in. A sound mind is not emotional suppression. Love you too, man. I appreciate you being here. Okay? Power, love, and a sound mind is not emotional suppression. It is regulated responses. Okay? Our prefrontal cortex, our part in our brain that governs logic, it governs restraint, it governs our long-term thinking. All right? Under chronic stress, do you want to know what it does? It weakens. That is called stress-induced prefrontal impairment. It's not important to remember what it's called, but it means the more that you move, the more that you react to your life, all right? The harder it becomes when you do that, it's so much harder to be disciplined. Thank you so much, Ice Dragon. I appreciate the sub. I really appreciate that, guys. Okay, untrained emotions become habit. I suffered through that. I had a long phase of my life, about almost 6 years, where I literally emotionally responded to everything instead of pausing and then reacting in an unemotional way. When we let our emotions run the show, we have a heck of a time discerning the difference between what we should be choosing and shouldn't be choosing. Emotions are heavy, but emotions are fleeting. Okay, emotions are fleeting, if that makes sense. Untrained emotion becomes habit. Habit becomes identity. And then do you want to know what happens? Identity shapes our destiny. Who we are, our identity is going to shape our destiny. Collapse never begins publicly. It always begins in small permissions that we are giving ourselves. Oh yeah, it's okay. I don't have to do that till Monday. I'll get to that tomorrow. You know what I mean? Those small things that we negotiate with ourselves. I can start that Monday, no problem. I can start that next week, no problem. First of the year, no problem. You know what I mean? It's those small permissions that we give ourselves, those small compromises, a small emotional indulgence, if you will, those small self-justifications, Yeah, I deserve this. Yeah, I should be able to do this. I had a good week. I deserve this, right? They don't understand, right? Those emotions in our brain, they don't understand. This isn't the big of the deal, if that makes sense, all right? This isn't necessarily the big of the deal. Over time, discipline erodes when we do that. It disappears because we stop ignoring what our brains are telling us to do, what the right thing is to do. It becomes so easy to start doing the wrong thing, to continue doing the wrong thing. You know, reactions start to speed up, if you will. Impulses, they strengthen because it's like, man, I can do this. I'm going to do it now. I need this. James 1:14-15. It says, each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own desire. Then desire gives birth to sin. Wow. Just wow. I'm going to read that again. Each person is tempted when they are dragged away by their own desire. Then desire gives birth to sin. Man, doesn't that ring home? It does with me anyways. I don't know about anybody else, but oh my gosh, I appreciate you. Ice Dragon, you're a boss, man. I love you. Thank you so much for the comments, for everything that you do here. I appreciate you. Okay, ungoverned desire, it becomes addiction, if you will. It becomes something that you need. It becomes control, right? It's like, I can do this. I've got this. Ungoverned trauma becomes domination or withdrawal. Does that make sense? The world does not run on weak people or ruin strong people. The world has strong people. It doesn't, if you're strong, the world's not going to ruin you. You're going to understand that I can make that hard choice. Awesome. Appreciate you, bro. Okay. The world does not ruin you if you're strong. I want you to understand that. Unexamined patterns ruin people. Okay? When you feel disrespected, what story activates in your mind? Let's think about that for a second. When you feel disrespected, what story starts playing in your mind? When someone disagrees with you, what fear inside of you starts to surface? Because everybody has that. When your spouse or say your friend pulls back from something, what insecurities in you, what starts to rise? Okay, maybe when money feels tight, what belief shows up in you when you are corrected? What emotion spikes in you first? Ask yourself these questions. That spike is wiring, okay? That wiring has history. It's not just doing it because it wants to spike in your body. It has history. And until you confront that, you will keep spiritualizing reactions that are neurological, okay? You know what I mean? Spiritual growth does not eliminate your nervous system. It reframes it. Psalm 139, 23 and 24 says, search me, O God. See if there is any offense way in me. Because offensive ways in me are ruins for evil. Thank you so much, bro. I'm glad you're here. Okay? We need to have introspection. We need to have leadership. I really think that it's important for us to understand that the reactions that we have in this world, the way that we respond to certain things, that's not because that's how we were built by God. It's how we were wired or wired ourselves. We can rewire ourselves at any point in time in our life. All right? Governed strength is built through repetition. The more you do something, the easier it becomes. Life isn't always easy, especially when you start something new, but you can do this. Hey, you're good, bro. I love this. I appreciate you being here. I really appreciate you being here. And we're getting close to the end of the time today, but I just want you to know that you are appreciated. And govern strength, it's not emotional suppression. Remember that, okay? It's not emotional suppression. It's the ability to feel deeply. It's the ability to feel without being ruled by what you feel, if that makes sense. It's the ability to be passionate without being reactive. It's the ability to lead without being driven by fear. Most people, they want influence. Few want discipline. Few want that discipline. Most want growth, but few want introspection. The nervous system defaults. So remember, whatever's coming up in you, it's because of wiring. It's not because you have a problem. It's not because there's anything wrong. Training determines which voice wins. All right, let's close in prayer today. Thank you, Ice Dragon, for being here. You are amazing. Everybody, thank you for joining. If you're here, if you're catching this replay, I appreciate you catching it. If you want to go deeper, www.jjshaver.com. And like I say, I appreciate you. Let's close in prayer. Father, Lord, thank you for this day. Please expose what we have avoided, surface what we have hidden, strengthen our discipline, Lord, hold our wiring and heal the old wiring, build maturity under pressure. Do not let talent outrun our character. Teach us to pause. Lord, thank you. Teach us to govern ourselves better. In Jesus' name we always pray. Amen. Thank you so much for being here. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.